Silent Sacrifice is our next destination, and aesthetically... dang. The atmosphere is on point here, and it's clear that despite it just being some roads and buildings, Glowstick tried to be respectful to the Silent Hill IP. The music does this map so many favors. The standard theme is one of my favorite Eminem tracks to date, just for how it sets the tone. But we can't ignore the obvious issue here. Remember that side tangent about wide open maps I went on and on about and how they're just not that very good? Well, what do you know, Stranger Sewers has a twin in terms of layout simplicity. This tweet makes a lot more sense now. Even their abbreviations match up, however, unlike Sewers, the level hazards actually mean business. Air Screamers assume the role of trap time and guard certain areas of the map where portal boxes are located. They'll strike if you get too close, but can be disposed of in a manner similar to Clown Clones, 6 lights or 3 heavies. I've heard the complaint that the Air Screamers are just like Boss Time 2.0, and I see where they're coming from, but I personally never had a grievance about it. But on the topic of Boss Time, oh boy, let's talk Red Pyramid Thing, where Pyramid Head has 99% of the player base use that name instead. Initiating his encounter transforms the landscape into a dark, eerie other world. The fog rolls in even more so than before, and roaming within it is everyone's favorite Triangle Man. Wielding a giant sword, this executioner is not playing around. He can teleport, dash, swing his blade, and even stun nearby competitors. Aesthetic-wise, this is Eminem's best boss enemy. But gameplay-wise, he could F right off. 2 of these guys prowl the map and will not back down. If one's on you, it will not leave you alone until boss time is over. On top of that, his attacks are known to be wonky with hit detection. The most popular strategy to deal with him is to constantly stay ahead of him, not too far that he doesn't dash, but not too close to the point where he'll ground pound. This was coined the social distance strategy, and much like a hosting fiend with poor internet, you'll want to stay away from him. But even then, interference from other players is far more punishing with this boss. Oh, and you can hit him for some reason, but it literally does nothing, so it's kinda pointless. At the very least, hitting him could maybe redirect who he's chasing in Maze Escape, or I don't know, just a thought. That way it's easier to keep valuable players on the field with less worry. This brings me to another issue worth discussing, looping boss time. As soon as boss time ends, while unlikely, there's a very real chance a player grabbing an item box could just trigger it again the next moment, thus it loops. While this is an issue at trap time as well, it's obviously a bigger problem with boss time, and Pyramid Head really emphasizes that. A cooldown would be immensely appreciated for these mechanics. Make it so players can't draw these triggers for like a minute after they conclude. So that's about it for Silent Sacrifice. What can I say? Visually it's amazing, but the gameplay feels like I'm constantly being kicked in the face at points. It took me a while to realize that I just don't enjoy playing on this map. Definitely better when the mode isn't Maze Escape, but that doesn't excuse how cracked the boss is. And the traps do not complement it at all. Accompanying this map, we got several characters to investigate. Our first support monster was here, and it's the Nurse from Silent Hill. She has a unique ability that applies various debuffs to opponents while buffing herself, dubbed Fear. But this was 100% the least played character of the update. I don't know guys, her range is the dictionary definition of underwhelming, and she was just easily overshadowed by who we'll be talking about next. Lucky the Rabbit's long-lost father, Robbie, was another balanced monster that took the idea of Clown's ability with cloning and took it in a whole new direction. Upon activation, 3 clones follow Robbie and attack those he fights with. They will have the same health as the Clown variety, but being able to directly influence what they do and how loyal they are, Robbie was different enough and maybe even a bit better than Clown Gremlin. Heck, like Robbie, Clown could no longer charge his ult while his clones were out, which was effectively just another nerf for him, oh goody. Introducing Little Miss Plot Armor, or Heather as sensible people call her, and Sybil Bennett. Well, is this a Detective Evans wannabe? Oh, I stand corrected. Yep, Dark Deception has a gun now, everyone! I wondered which of these would happen first. The range is by far the longest of any base attack in the game because it's a frickin' firearm. Her ultimate was also really cool, being able to reset an enemy's ultimate charge, but Sybil was immediately OP. Having the same damage output as other balanced mortals just with a longer range and a really versatile ultimate, she was an easy conflict of interest, and it didn't take long for the devs to notice this at all. But here's the thing. Shooting people with that long range can be super satisfying, so I always thought a work with a new class or something would be much better than a nerf. Put her and Ducky in a new class so their damage values can be adjusted and boom, flawless solution. Yet the unnoticed powerhouse of this DLC came in the form of Heather Mason. She completely just replaced Bierce in the meta, not even a question. Bierce's core flaw was that she wasn't the best at supporting a team, but Heather's Seal of Metatron granted every ally a whopping 80% damage reduction. Now that is something to write home about. It was also intended to give a slight speed boost, but that part was bugged, making her just a slight bit more tolerable. This update was also home to some under-the-hood balance changes. Alright, let's see those patch notes. This is incredible. Chef Monkey's got a damage nerf, Fiend got a slight buff, Evans was nerfed, and... wait, what, Pen Pen was also nerfed? I thought I was going mad for a hot minute, but a friend and I tested her out and compared her speeds, and yeah, her ult didn't make her any faster than normal, which puzzled the heck out of me. But thankfully this was a confirmed bug. Shard store prices were permanently discounted, which definitely helped to mitigate some of the grind. Triple items were also removed from portal boxes because straight up no one liked waiting 24 seconds to waste Triple Frenzy, and 3 Primal Fears packed together across the line. But you see, disregarding these from item rolls only increased the likelihood of others. Most notably Phantom Malik's spawn rate. I'm sure you could tell where I'm going with this. The rarest item poll, and I'm putting rarest in quotations, is the trigger to summon Malik's Phantom form. If you played this game for long enough, you damn well know I don't need to explain the horrors this item brings to the table. Fast, hits hard, and insanely difficult to lose. The only sort of viable strategy to do this is an awkward shuffle thing for 45 seconds to prevent non-living. But the absolute worst part is that you can spawn multiple. I've had games that start out well enough and then bam, 3 Phantom Maliks crash the party. While there's a hilarious aspect to it, it's just not fun. If the devs don't want to nerf Phantom Malik, fine. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I'll probably live. But at the very least, make it so we can't spawn more than one of these floating bath towels in a match, please! Disregarding what the update brought, we got the Trap Time soundtrack the same day, which really should have gone out a day before for everyone, but whatever. The following day, we were hit with a pretty neat patch that fixed some notable issues, and hey, there's patch notes, hooray! Nixon finally fixed some of the cheesing with the boss brute since they couldn't enter the control room anyway, which was nice. He just needs to fix the other 4 spots you could do this in and we should be good. Doom Ducky got a slight collision buff, the alarm sound on Monstrum now turns off after trap time, Heather's ult had some of its oversights addressed, good stuff. Now, legend has it that the developers were able to successfully pull off a win in Silent Sacrifice during Maze Escape while testing, and I have no idea how they did it. Doing it nowadays is tricky, but at launch, a full 1000 shards is almost impossible thanks to the map issues I outlined earlier. 850's more manageable, but still rather difficult without good team coordination. Apparently Borisov's ult just didn't work with the latest update, so that was fixed, and the healing on a heavy attack for support models was re-implemented. I don't even think I mentioned that earlier, shoot. And we got a new quality of life improvement. Whenever you're under a certain effect, its associated icon will appear next to your health bar. Helpful addition, we just need something similar for if you're a shard leader, and I'll be a happy camper. The Monsters and Mortals community was fairly happy at the time, but what about the Silent Hill fandom? Did these worlds colliding help their fanbases make peace as well? I hate to say it, but that just simply didn't happen. Heck, when the crossover announcement first happened and hit news articles, the Silent Hill Reddit was collectively saying, "What is this and what is it doing with our Silent Hill?" As I said earlier, Silent Hill fans were looking for a new installment, and while this was a decent attempt, you couldn't exactly blame Glowstick for not succeeding. Vince set up a poll on Twitter about the fate of Worldplay. Axe it or tolerate it were the options, and the result was pretty divided. While the votes didn't decide anything, it did let the developers know that we weren't exactly pleased with public matches. We've all had those insane waiting times, not just waiting for players, but even finding a session could actually be more painful than playing the game itself. This negativity mostly comes from how the game is peer-to-peer with no dedicated servers, but just removing Worldplay altogether is not the way to go. I'm all for front-play supremacy, but forcing people to find players outside the game itself to enjoy some multiplayer fun is kinda self-defeating. But yeah, the rest of the week was pretty good. I owned Vince with a gun, hallelujah. The next DLC was in the works, and it wasn't a crossover with another IP, but with popular YouTubers who helped grow Dark Deception. 8-Bit Ryan, Dako, and Super Horror Bro were all making appearances and had their in-game mortal personas teased throughout late March and April. We later got a store page with an April 30th release date, and whoa, I'm going through this part pretty fast, aren't I? You see, since there wasn't a map, production on this DLC was incredibly easy since the most difficult part about creating a new character for Eminem was the assets. Programming them was simple, and we were able to see this DLC just a month after Silent Hill, which was pretty sweet. The day before release, a premiere was put up for a teaser video that would advertise the creator pack. It obviously wasn't a showcase, so what could it be? Huh. A CGI skit. Well, I guess it's not the strangest marketing decision out there, and it did show off the models further, which looked insane! You already know where I'm going with this, so I'm just gonna move along. I have a whole other page gushing over the quality of these visuals, so I'm just gonna save you and skip that part. April 30th was the next day, and we got the UK creators release right on time. We didn't even know the classes and abilities of these guys beforehand, which certainly added to the intrigue. 8-Bit Ryan is power and is quite literally the mortal version of Dread Ducky, but strangely more balanced? His ult isn't a one-shot and deals a specific percentage. Oh hey, what do you know? Now he's fairer than Ducky, sure, but compared to other mortals, 8-Bit Beatdown is still absolutely busted, thus completing the Broken Blondies trio. Does this make you feel okay? Thankfully, all of the OP potential went into Ryan for this update, as Dako and Super Horror Bro are surprisingly balanced. Dako supports his team and can glitch himself plus fellow teammates to guard them from heavy and light attacks, and honestly, this is a great ultimate. While Darkest Desire was a bit bugged at launch since getting hit by any AI opponents would remove the effect for some reason, the visuals of being glitched looked killer. Super Horror wielded those giant scissors, which is a fun reference to him being a video editor, and his ultimate allows him to send a wave forward and endow a new effect on enemies. Bleeding is the name of the game, and it inflicts damage over time. A very satisfying ult to land. That was essentially it for this update, aside from some bug fixes with Pen and Heather's speeds while ulting, truly cementing the near unstoppable nature of Miss Plot Armor over here. And that's basically Monsters Immortal's first year. What, we started on April 1st, 2020, and now we're ending on April 30th, 2021. That's more than a year. You should be more than gracious. Okay, fine, we'll discuss the rest. In summer 2021, we hit the largest drought we had ever seen from this game. No new updates, barely any news, and just not much to look forward to for May, June, July, August, and September. This is the extent of what we got. Now why is this? Well, the answer was surprisingly simple. Chapter 4. After numerous delays, Glowstick decided to buckle down and get this thing done. The prolonged development time also encouraged the devs to turn up the quality a couple notches with enhanced visuals. This not only affected Chapter 4, but the previous 3 episodes as well. Summer was pretty much DD Enhanced time to shine, quite literally because damn, look at those reflections. These updates also brought over the Chef Monkey and Watcher Titan from M&M, which was joyous to see. Unfortunately, it was shot down pretty quick that these visual improvements would make their way over to multiplayer, at least not anytime soon. While this was good for Dark Deception, Monsters Immortals was left in the dark and fans weren't sure how to feel for months about this, until a little revival happened. Being a Monsters Immortals fan during this period of time wasn't pleasant, but patience in this community is rewarded for the truest fans. On September 28th, we got some solid proof that God existed as Dark Deception Chapter 4 finally came out. Fans partied, and it was awesome to see such a massive project finally conclude its development. Whether or not you like the chapter or not, you gotta admit that this was a huge moment for the community. This also meant that with the Chapter 4 shaped gap in the devs' priority list, they could spread more time into others, and if you can't assume what I'm inferring, you obviously haven't been paying attention. Just a week and a half after Chapter 4's launch, Reaper Nurse was announced to be joining the roster alongside some Halloween-themed skins. We got the update the following Tuesday, and it did more than we predicted. What do you know, Sybil actually got a rework under a brand new class, Ranged. Basically having the same stats as a balanced mortal, she was slightly faster, dealt less damage, and had a much longer cooldown when attacking. It makes her not as fun to play as before, but these were necessary changes. The trio is no more! Although I would appreciate a shorter cooldown because only firing a shot every 2 seconds makes Sybil feel way more tanky than I'd like. The max level was also raised to 300 for the psychopaths that reached the previous cap at 200. Every base game character got at least 1 new outfit, Monkey and Watcher got 2, and Reaper Nurse got 3. But obviously the star of the show here is the Reaper Nurse herself. Skating under the speed roll, her ultimate is pretty much just Vanish and Frenzy roll into one with a longer duration period. Now Reaper Nurse herself is alright, definitely on the stronger side, but this update really made me wish that issues like hosting privileges and pulling off a double heavy just didn't exist. It is my dream for this game to have actual servers instead of peer-to-peer, but we need a more consistent player base for that. Oh well, maybe one day. So don't ask me how, but strangely some of the UK creators' assets were just missing from the project file now. Again, don't ask me how. This was fixed the following day, but at a price. Taco's glitch effect had to be redone, which was a real shame. While the new one does resemble more of what a glitch would probably look like, the old one was just awesome. Also, his ultimate was tweaked to be a bit more crowd control based, affecting literally everyone on the field now. Apparently this was just how it was initially intended to work, but I gotta be honest, I might prefer the old Daco. The next update was slated to feature Chapter 4's Joy Joy gang, and that brings us to today. Oh my god! Literally one day before the anniversary, an update adding in the mascots was put out. Screw sleep, let's cover our final batch of characters. Remember my rant about 8-bit Ryan being Ducky? Fun. To be fair, Lucky has by far the most balanced iteration of the ult, but come on, this is the 3rd time we've gotten this ability. Angry became a power monster because let's be honest, he was not going to be anything else. He does a Mario ground pound on the floor and damages nearby foes, which is unique enough for me to get behind it. Penny throws eggs. But they kinda suck. Penny's our first ranged monster, and oh my god is she painful. She carries over that same feeling from Sybil with attacks taking 5 business days to pull off. But the main difference is that her eggs have literally no limit in range. However, they are on the slower side and mass firing them is just not possible. They only do 20 damage too, which is just abysmal. Her health though. Penny feels like a character you don't play as to win, you play as her just to annoy others. It's obviously still early to tell how viable she truly is, because, I mean, she literally just came out. but the general consensus is that she's just not worth the effort. Dread Ducky actually got a nerf this update, but it didn't really change him much, so we're not really going to go into that because he's still essentially the same. Now, I would love to go more in depth with my final thoughts here, but Jesus Christ, have you seen how long this video has been going on for? I already pretty much outlined my specific feelings during the video, so let me conclude with some generalized final words. It's certainly been a great year with some hiccups along the way. I enjoy this game, it can be really fun with the right people, but certain elements are just straight up unfair sometimes. Moreover, certain bugs and issues have existed in this multiplayer game for a long while, and it's time to see them depart if you ask me. I love the regular Dark Deception, but my feelings towards Monsters Immortals fluctuate so often. If Glowstick Entertainment is watching this, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I hope you hard workers are walking away from this video with something. I don't represent everyone's views on this game, but I am trying to document what has been said and what's happened over this past year. Regardless of who you are, I'm sure most of us are looking forward to what's on the horizon for year 2. Plenty of base game content and DLCs are scheduled, and I honestly cannot wait to see them all in action. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.